Hey guys, welcome to the Rubin Report. I'm Chief UN Weapons Inspector Dave Rubin, and I've got Leeann Tweeden, hot off Hannity. Not a lot of people go from Hannity to the Rubin Report.
It's true.
And I've got Jimmy Dore, hot off the Jimmy Dore Show, which people do sometimes do the Jimmy Dore Show and then come here.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's start with the Middle East crisis of the week. It was just a week ago that we were all talking about Egypt. I guess that thing resolved itself, so that was pretty good. We are on to Syria. It looks like we're going to have a war, possibly later this afternoon, possibly tomorrow. We shall see. I don't want to make light of it, though. 100,000 people have died in conventional warfare, and then suddenly the chemicals have started to be being used this week. It looked like about 1,000 people, but they've been used a couple times before that. And now there's evidence of it, and let's listen to the human tree, John Kerry, discussing what happened.
The indiscriminate slaughter of civilians, the killing of women and children and innocent bystanders by chemical weapons is a moral obscenity. By any standard, it is inexcusable, and despite the excuses and equivocations that some have manufactured, it is undeniable.
All right, that's pretty much the most emotional I've ever seen John Kerry. I don't quite understand the distinction. Somehow it's okay if 100,000 people die by bombs and bullets, but if they cough before they die now, we're suddenly very upset. So let's just start with that. Is the red line, I mean, Obama said the red line thing, so he sort of painted himself into a corner here. Is the red line thing because of chemical weapons? Has that now forced our hand here and we have to do something?
Well, I think Obama said it last year that if they use chemical weapons, that is a hard line for the United States and probably the rest of the world or the Western world. But I think it's very interesting. We talked about this earlier. Like you said, it's okay to slaughter and kill women and children with bombs and bullets and, you know, attacks and sniper bullets and stuff like that. But God forbid they drop one of those bombs with a little bit of gas on it and kill people in the middle of the night. And then suddenly now we're going to do something 2.5 years into this civil war.
Right.
So it's very difficult. I was watching some news last night. I was watching some old generals, some special operators, some strategists, military strategists, and they're like, so we're basically just going to, maybe throw some Tomahawk missiles in there, teach them a lesson, don't drop chemical bombs on your people again, and then kind of pull out and not really do anything. Don't put boots on. I mean, obviously we probably have operatives in there and CIA people and stuff, but as far as and we're announcing it to the world, I don't know. I'd rather probably not do anything and let them have their civil war, because what good is it going to do for the United States or any of the other countries around?
Well, you got to about 5 of the questions that I wanted to get to, but let's start. Let's start though with just the distinction between which way people can die. Do you find it more okay for 100,000 people to die via conventional warfare than chemical warfare? And again, I'm not diminishing the death.
Well, of course I do, Dave, because I'm an American. I mean, why can't only a depraved animal would use chemical weapons to kill someone? Why can't they use a nice Christian depleted uranium tip bomb like we use here? How about if they drop one of those bombs we dropped on Japan that doesn't kill women and children? Why don't they do one? Why don't they do that? Because we're so much better. It's so good to see John Kerry get so pissed off about indiscriminate killing, because he served in Vietnam, and if anybody knows about indiscriminate killing, it's John Kerry. So this self-righteous bullshit about chemical weapons, because what he's really saying is, if you're going to kill someone, you better blow their fucking head off. Right. That's what he's saying, because if I go and I see a body without blood on it, I'm upset at you. And that's literally what he said during that press conference.
Because he is actually saying, if you would have just destroyed the whole city that you dropped the chemical weapons in, and then we wouldn't have evidence of it, well, we would have been okay
He's literally
with that.
Said you see bodies laying there without blood on them.
Yeah.
And that upsets him.
And isn't that nuts?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is all crazy. What this is that we've been committing so many war crimes for so long, and we've been doing so many horrible things that we have to go, look, we're not horrible because we're upset about this.
Right, because we're doing drone strikes right now in Yemen and in other parts of the Middle East, and innocent people are being killed. And
we're doing double taps. Yeah. And you know what that is, right?
Yeah, I do, when they come back again. Yeah. So but that's a whole separate issue. So all right, so let's talk about it. So it looks like we're going to war, but
yay!
We're not going to call it war, because we're going to do what we did in Libya. It was they called it, it was an Xbox Connect military action or something.
It's just a strike from a couple boats off the shore, and then we'll go back out into the water.
Right. So Obama, who has always said, you have to have congressional authorization and we should go through the UN. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to do it. But Barack, guess what your buddy Joe Biden said about George W. Bush doing that?
And I made it clear to the president that if he takes this nation to war in Iran without congressional approval, I will make it my business to impeach him. That's a fact. That is a fact.
Okay, so there you have it. That's Biden in 2007 talking about George W. Bush, but now he's the VP of President Obama who's about to do the exact same thing. Hypocrisy, what?
I mean, I have a hard time taking Biden seriously on anything he says, but now that he's piping in along with John Kerry, I would like it to go to Congress because I think the Congress who are supposed to represent the people, which are us, you would hope that they'd have at least a say in if we are going to, I hope not start a war, but if we are going to attack another country and to do what they say is going to happen today or tomorrow, then, I think we should go to Congress.
Yeah. Do you make any distinction between just lobbing a couple of rockets, so that's not war, versus, something bigger that then would be war? I mean, I'm pretty sure if Canada lobbed a rocket into the United States, we would consider that an act of war.
Absolutely.
Well, the Al-Qaeda didn't even use rockets and we considered it an act of war. They just hijacked a couple of planes. So yes, of course. Of course it's the squiggly line of whatever the fuck we want it to be, whenever we feel like it, whatever serves us, right?
Right. But shouldn't we all be seriously upset with Obama right now? Because he's the one that has pushed this idea of everything has to go through the UN, which now it's very clear that's not going to happen, and everything has to go through Congress.
But he's done a lot of things that he's just pushed through himself. Up until this point. So it doesn't surprise me that he is doing that now.
Yeah. So final question on this. Is this actually Obama's fault because of the red line thing? Not that the killing is not his fault there, but because he really did box us into a corner where he said this is...
He could not send off the bombs. He could not order the Tomahawk missiles shipped.
Yeah.
I mean...
Listen, I don't want to go to war. I don't think we should be doing anything there. But can he not do anything?
Because he said, if we use chemical weapons, what would you think of Obama then? Would you think he's a weak president because he said, I'm going to send, we're going to do something if chemical weapons are used, and he doesn't?
I think that's the thinking in Washington, that he set a red line and you crossed it, and now if he doesn't do anything, the credibility of the administration is gone. Is that legit? Is that a legit argument?
He's got credibility issues anyways. But.
Well, that's the thing about those peace prizes, Dave. Nobody ever tries to win a second one.
Perfect ending to this. And Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize before he was president. This is now going to be his second war without going to Congress for. Okay. All right, let's talk about the internet. Huffington Post, which is like the Drudge Report for the other guys, they are banning anonymous comments. CEO Arianna Huffington had this to say. Trolls have become more and more aggressive and uglier. Freedom of expression is given to people who stand up for what they're saying and not hiding behind anonymity. I actually basically think this is a pretty good thing. These message boards and the comment sites and even what's going on here on YouTube, we'll get to that in just a second, has become a haven for racists and anti-women and anti-Semites and give me something else. Anti-gays, homophobes, thank you, and all kinds of just endless hate. I do think there's some reasons that this may be problematic, because if you're in a country that's not free and this is your only form of expression, that could be a problem. But let's just start with the United States and the Western world and the free countries. Is this basically a good idea? Because all of this stuff, it's just crazy people ranting and raving. And you know a little something about ranting and raving, Jimmy Dore.
A little something about ranting and raving. I mean, all you have to do is go to YouTube, pick any video clip, go to the fourth comment. And the fourth commenter always viciously rips the third commenter because the fourth commenter is always a jerk.
What is it about number 4? It always starts with 3 things related to the video, and then by 4, go fuck yourself.
And then the 5th guy comes in and tries to find common ground between everybody, and for that, the 6th commenter impugns his sexuality. So that's pretty much how it goes. I don't, you kind of get, I'm one of those guys that I'll find myself getting caught up at, like in Huffington Post, I'll make a comment, and then someone comments back, I'm like, you little dick. And then I'll say something back, and before I know it, like I'm in a thing, I'm like, how did I get in this?
Okay, so my policy on it is that I will not, even on Twitter, if someone's just an egg, if they're just an anonymous egg, I will not debate you. I can't debate an anonymous thing, you know what I mean? But if you're a person, I'll try to engage in some sort of level of discussion with you.
You don't even know if they're a real, or if they are who they say they are. So the anonymity thing, half the time that people that are like anonymous, you can have, hi, I'm Bill Green or whatever,
Right,
and you
and it
don't
could
know
be a
who the
fake
hell that
picture.
is. It's a fake picture, a fake person, and they could start an account with another email. So I take that all with a grain of salt anyways. And people on Twitter that are mean, I just block them anyways. I don't even give them the time of day.
Yeah.
So it's like, I won't even go into a debate with a troll who, if they hate you anyways and they're spewing hate and you know that they're not even going to reason or see your side and they just hate you for whatever reason, then you move on.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
we've
have time for
got
that
we've
shit.
got a couple numbers to look at related to the hate. Online commenters, 35% of them are anonymous, and 61% use a pseudonym. As far as the anonymous commenters go, 34% of them put out positive stuff. 55% put out neutral stuff, 11% negative. Do you think there's some importance to having some level of anonymity, though? Because in the bigger world, when people need to express themselves somehow and they can't because of governments, not that, I mean, we know our government's watching us now too. So what do you think?
Do I think it's important? Yeah, I think it's, first of all,
Is there a risk in taking anonymity away from the internet?
I think that you need to have anonymity. Yes, and I will often, if I want to make a comment, I will often go under a pseudonym, right, or a pseudonym.
I don't even know what that is.
And so yeah, I will do. I think it's important. And you know what? Anybody who gets offended at internet comments, needs to go back and slap their parents because they weren't raised correctly, right? What's wrong with you? So you need to just. I think it's great, actually.
Leeann, do you think there's maybe some reason that all these people that are walking around with so much hate and so much racism and homophobia and all that stuff, do you think there's actually something positive, the fact that they get it out while sitting at their computer, as opposed to bottling it up and then doing something crazy,
I could
really
give
crazy?
a shit if people are bottling up their anger and their hate. I just look at people that write nasty things anonymously, are trolls anyways, who they don't have the balls to say it to my face. And half the time it's not even things like they're afraid of their government cracking down on them. We're talking about people that are anonymously bullying a girl in their school or something. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and that's why
It's like, meet me on the playground. Okay, pal, that's how we used to sell it when I was a kid.
Well,
It's like, there's none of this Facebook shit. There's none of this, I'm gonna start another Facebook page. And there's a small percentage of people that are afraid of governments, maybe afraid of workplace violence or something that they're posting that they feel like they need to get it out on a comment section on a blog. Or
and that's
HuffPo?
why-
I mean, really? That's the important part of this? No.
Yeah, and I was trying to make a distinction between someone that lives in a relatively free society and versus there are places, let's say in the Middle East, where maybe you need to be anonymous on a message board so you can argue against
I can
the regime,
understand
but
if you're
that's
in
totally
Iran
different.
or Syria and you're
Right.
trying to get information out and you're sneaking it and you're hiding in safe houses and you're trying to get the truth out to the world. That's something completely different.
Yeah.
But
Jimmy, do you have a message for the commenters on this video, because they're going to be very upset with us no matter what?
My
we do.
message for them is that I think they're all very witty and snappy dressers.
They look good.
They really are.
They look
They're
good.
snappy
that
dressers.
egg, they're snappy dressers,
Yeah.
right? That photo.
I think that you know what? I didn't think about that. The kids being bullied. That's different for sure. I agree with her on that. But I just want to say, I think like when you see, like especially YouTube, people are so over the top. Like they'll just be racist out of nowhere or just completely.
But they would never be that to your face.
No, but
ever.
So then is there any-
But doesn't it help you? I think what I'm saying is that I think it makes me kind of laugh now. So I think it helps us kind of laugh that shit off so those people don't get under us. Because that's all they're doing. That's what a troll is.
Right. That's an interesting point, that they're sort of getting it out, and it really shows, it's because it's typed and you can look at it and read it again, you can really see how ridiculous and evil all this racism and all this
Yeah,
stuff
but you
is.
know what? Sometimes you fall down the rabbit hole. I've done that a couple times, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, like a half an hour later, you're still looking at like this chain of comments of people down here, like, so-and-so 007, you suck, and blah, blah, and I'm like, wait, which one, what did he say again? You're trying to go back and find what he's commenting on, and it's not even worth my time.
How insulted could I be at a guy with a screen name Fart Saver? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And on that note, I think I can speak for Jimmy Dore and Leeann Tweeden when I say you guys are all wonderful. We love you, and we have nothing but nice things to think
Just don't be anonymous.
and say about you, you anonymous, wonderful people, you. Okay. Cory Booker, he is the mayor of Newark right now, but he is the Democratic nominee for senator for New Jersey to replace Frank Lautenberg, who kicked the bucket after he was like 177 years old, and he most likely will be the next senator from New Jersey.
Frank Lautenberg, last senator to come over on the Mayflower.
Fact right there from Jimmy Dore. That's right. That was an age joke. There you go. That was an old joke and an age joke. So the thing is with Cory Booker, I did not know this, but apparently there are gay rumors around him. He's always been very He's always been very pro-gay. I actually interviewed him once at a gay event. I thought he was married, and until I read this story, I thought he was married.
I thought he was married.
Wait, what did you feel when you interviewed him?
I didn't get
anything?
any. I thought he was a great guy.
Interesting.
I just got a feeling he was a great guy. We actually talked about basketball mostly, but
But he did do that interview on your lap, right?
he was sitting on my lap naked, which was weird.
Oh, right, okay.
But anywho,
It was Christmas.
he has addressed sort of gay rumors this week, and I think did it in a really interesting way. Let's take a look. And people who think I'm gay, some part of me thinks it's wonderful because I want to challenge people on their homophobia. I love seeing on Twitter when someone says I'm gay, and I say, so what? Does it matter if I am? So be it. I hope you are not voting for me because you are making the presumption that I'm straight. There's a little bit of sort of antithetical, sort of backwards speak logic in there, but I kind of think it's great.
Last line.
Yes.
I think it's great, and you know what? Who cares? Really doesn't matter if he's gay or not. He's not married. I think I read in our story that he said he went and seeked out a pastor or something, and the pastor's like, he wanted some advice, and he goes, get married. And he's like, wait a minute, what? I mean, you don't have to be married to be a mayor or a senator or whatever. Sure, maybe it looks kind of weird because most men at that age and in that profession usually have a family because they want to present the family life or whatever, but who cares either way? I don't give a shit.
He's been nothing then beyond pro-gay. And this is a guy who runs into burning houses to save families. And when the hurricane happened, he had people staying at his house, and he's like moving, light fixtures that have fallen. I mean, this guy, he's a pretty good guy. So, look, obviously, I'm pro-gay.
I'd like to judge that more than like his sexuality.
Right? Should we just regard? It's irrelevant, right? I'm answering the question that I'm asking you.
Well, as far as my voting goes, it's pretty irrelevant, I think. But it is relevant in a sense, like he's a politician, he needs people to vote for him. If Robert De Niro, that's why Kevin Spacey still hasn't come out, right? Because it does affect the way people vote for you. It does affect the ticket sales. Box office, So if Robert De Niro came out as gay, it would probably mess around with his box office a lot. Even though I don't think people hold it against him, it's just there's a thing you want to like someone in a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's what you know what I mean?
So the thought that he's gay, it bothers you more than that he's a middle-aged man that's not married and doesn't have a family.
No, it doesn't bother me. What bothers me about Cory Booker is that he's a tool of Wall Street.
Okay,
but
so that's a whole.
That's another thing.
That's a whole other. That's a whole other thing. Yeah.
It doesn't bother me that he's gay. I mean, in fact, I think it's almost if he was gay, it would be for me a positive because it would mean that he has a more open mind about the way the world works.
Yeah.
So that's now, for me. But most people, I don't think, would feel that way.
Okay, so if he was a Republican and he had gone on and had a platform that was anti-gay or he was against marriage equality or any of that stuff, we'd obviously all be against that, right? I think I can speak for all of us in there. Yeah. But is there something even more dangerous if he is gay? And again, I'm not saying he is. I'm not even putting the rumor out there at all. But let's just say it was someone of his stature that was gay, but still closeted and still pro-gay. Is there even more danger in that in a weird way? Do you think that that's possible?
I'd like to ask the gay community that. Does that bother you that somebody that you think is potentially gay, that is pro-gay in his, public political standings, but he won't come out? I mean, does that bug you?
And again, I'm not outing Cory Booker. I think he's straight. I have met him. I believe he's straight.
I think it would mean more to them than it does to me because it doesn't matter to me. If he's a good mayor, if he's a good senator, then who cares? I mean, it's his constituents in the end that are going to have to vote and go, we like this guy. He stood up for us. He had people in his house. He runs into burning, whatever. Yeah. It's like, who cares about his sexuality? You know what I mean? It's like, can he run our government? Can he run our local government?
Let's get over the gay stuff. Give me 30 seconds on the Wall Street stuff because I basically like him, but he is pretty close to Wall Street, and it's been a lot of problems. So let's bang him up a little bit legitimately politically.
If you're like me and you think the biggest part of our problem right now in our economy is that the Wall Street's control of it, well then you'll think that Cory Booker has probably got the worst flaw you can have as a candidate. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
You don't think all politicians fall under like Wall Street's thumb and invest their money
That's
That's every politician. That's almost everybody.
No, you're right. That's why there's Wolfpack and that's why there's people trying to get money out of politics. You're exactly right. He's not unique in his.
Right.
No, you're right.
Yeah. All right. Well, whether you're gay or not, Booker, let's ease up on the Wall Street connection.
Can I just say, Dave, that I don't care if he's gay as long as he has the strong shoulders and the bedroom eyes.
Which he's incredibly fit, and you'd like to wrestle with him, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
He's very handsome. There you go. All right, let's move on. There is a new app called Lulu, and this is where girls, can anonymously, because we're talking about anonymity on this show, they can anonymously rate and review their male Facebook friends as well as men that they don't know. And again, this is completely anonymously. Let's look at their mission statement. Lulu is a private network for girls to express and share their opinions openly and honestly. We created Lulu to unleash the value of girl talk and to empower girls to make smarter decisions on topics ranging from relationships to beauty and health. But basically what it is just a ranking system of dudes. You upload the dude, you answer some questions about him, and then girls can decide if they want to hook up with him or have sex with him or date him or just ignore him. So are you on there, is my first question.
No.
You're a married woman.
I'm a married woman, but again, that's one of those things where I'm thinking, if you're a woman and you need an app to sit there and choose who you're gonna sleep with or who's cool or who's not, and again, who's to say that it's a woman's only app?
Yeah.
Who's to say that there's not guys on there pretending to be women just to go on there and troll and see what the girls are saying or to make good comments about themselves? I mean,
right, that's
how do you
point.
even know? I mean, so basically, I think the people that are using this app take it with a grain of salt that maybe it's more entertainment than it is. Am I going to sleep with this guy?
Right.
Does he have an STD? Was he good to his ex-girlfriend?
Right.
I mean, he's an ex for a reason, so let's find out why. I mean, it just seems so stupid and kind of frivolous to me. But if college girls want this and to check out a guy on campus and they think it's legitimate enough that they can trust it and believe it, what happens if a guy gets a great rating and then a girl gets raped by him? Is she going to sue Lulu?
Right.
I mean,
So,
you know what I mean? There's so many things that you can open up in that Pandora's box that are not good.
It's a huge Pandora's box. And the thing is that if you liked a guy, if you really liked a guy, you'd probably be with him.
Thank you.
Right? So if you
Try to
don't
go
like
meet him
a guy,
at the dorm bar or
aren't you
whatever.
going to just trash him on this thing? Because you don't want to. I know a little something about girls. They don't like passing off the good guys to other girls,
Sure.
right? Don't they want the girl? Isn't that the whole point, Jimmy?
Unlike guys who like to pass the best girl around all the time.
Right. In those movies.
And
that you're fond
if
of.
the guy does go rape someone, it is going to hurt his rating. The point is, no, I think women. I just thought that's all funny to me, you know, Master. Women, you don't need an app to get a guy. You have an app. It's called a vagina.
Yeah.
You already have it.
It's called a brain. It's called meeting the guy in person somewhere. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I don't know.
Men need apps to get women, but women don't need apps to get men. You have the app.
Right. And is there something crazy to think of that girls would be helping each other get good guys? It doesn't seem like the way of the world, sort of.
But you know what,
even if the sexes were reversed.
But my girlfriends and I are not. I don't know. Maybe we're a little bit older than the 20-somethings in college now, but we would never go on an app and be like, oh, let's see what the other girls around town are saying about the guy at the bar.
Right.
I mean, it's like, really? Why? What's the point?
At the risk of us
And you
sounding.
don't even know that it really is true.
Right, exactly. So at the risk of us sounding like old fogies here at this
are old
table, oh
fogies.
my God, we're so old compared to these kids with their apps. But are we losing a little something? Like, I've seen love letters that my grandfather wrote to my grandmother when he was away in the war. You know, are we losing actually some level of romance and courtship with, knowing everything? You can meet someone at a bar and forgetting the app, you can jump on Facebook and suddenly find out everything about them or any of that stuff.
I've been in a relationship since Facebook was invented, and so I don't know what that's like. And every once in a while, I'm reminded. Somebody will tell me, they're like, "Oh, I met this guy. I didn't even know his last name, so I couldn't look him up on Facebook. It was so exciting to get to know him."
Right.
And I was just like, that is such a weird way to date now. Like, you already know so much shit about someone before you ever have sex with them. Like, you're supposed to have sex and not know them. That's what makes it fun.
That's the whole point of sex. Can you imagine knowing about someone that you're having sex with?
You probably wouldn't have it. That takes out the fun, right?
So I don't know what it's like to date like that. Did you know what it's
No, I've never been an
neither.
So
online
do you
dater.
guys think this really is like a generational thing? That these millennials or younger,
Yes.
that they just don't, everything is on their phone.
I watch teenage girls text each other while they're in the same room.
Yeah.
Like they'd rather text and do these little like abbreviations and shit than talk to one another.
Like the Snapchat now. That's very
whatever
popular.
that is. I've heard of it. I don't even know what Snapchat is. Sorry, excuse me.
Are you on the Snapchat?
That's
It's not Snapchat, right?
Snapchat. That's an idea for an app.
I'm on Snapchat already. But
that's how you get the guy.
The evolution, right? If you've ever seen the chart, right, of the Homo sapien, so it starts out as a caveman, and then you're upright, and now it's like this.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the next
back
one.
down. It's like, yes, you're right. It's going back.
Well, it's like people putting TVs in their cars. It's like, I'd rather look at a fictional representation of the outside world than actually look at the outside world.
Right.
There's a world happening right as you go by it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem when you see people. It's like the girl the famous girl texting. She walks into the waterfall or whatever in the mall, and then she tried to sue the mall.
And sues the mall. Yeah.
But it's like you're so kids. I think, and the millennials are so self-centered, and everything is about them, and everything is about like instant, and they want it now, and they want to communicate, but not real communication. It's like this faux communication. They don't even think they know how to have a conversation with a man. I mean, so it's very disturbing.
I'd really love to take a selfie right now with you guys, but they took my phone away before we started the show.
It's on
Okay.
airplane mode.
We got a perfect segue here because let's keep talking social media. This one I think is completely bonkers. A school district in Glendale, that's in California, not too far from here in Los Angeles, has hired a company to monitor the social media posts made by students. So that's right, Jimmy. This company will be monitoring 13,000 students at 8 middle and high schools. We're talking about their Twitter accounts, their Facebook accounts, I guess Snapchat and Grindr.
This doesn't offend me.
So you like this?
No, because and if you continue on the story, they're only reading what's public. So it's what's out there. It's what people are tweeting about. I mean, the kids that killed the Australian guy running, they now can go on that kid's Twitter account and he's talking about guns and they're bored and killing people. And so, I mean, you can gather a lot of information about what people do. That doesn't bother me. If kids are going to go out there and put shit out there on the internet and it's public and it's open, and a school can go, maybe I can stop a school shooting, or I can stop a kid that's being bullied that may be suicidal, and talking about it, because almost every child that we've seen that has killed themselves have posted, they do post these like, this is it, I just want to say goodbye to everybody, or whatever, and you might be able to save a child, and they said they have saved somebody from committing suicide. Right. And it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
as long as they're not going into private accounts and doing all that stuff, but they say they're not, so.
Okay, so they say they're looking at the public stuff, and I'm with you on the sentiment of that they're going to try to stop kids from killing themselves, or they can watch out for bullying or that kind of stuff. But isn't this really just another layer of Big Brother watching you? And now it's becoming systemic to kids in middle school, so of course they're going to grow up and not care that the NSA is watching them and all that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It gets them used to the nanny state right away, the surveillance state. You're used to it. No matter what you do, the government knows somebody's watching you. And it's time right now, when we're cutting local school budgets and firing teachers, is there a better use of our resources than to hire some motherfuckers to spy on kids' Facebook page?
Right, and the school probably has no art or music left.
Come on, I'd rather spend $40,000 monitoring 13,000 students that way than having 10 teachers that have molested children that are still on payroll because of the damn union. So let's be real. I'm just saying, if you're talking about budgets and schools and good teachers, we can go a long way of that.
If the choice is molesters or this program, I'll take this program. But I don't think that's the choice.
But that doesn't not necessarily. All right, but let's look at some numbers related to teens and social media use. 91% of them post a photo of themselves somewhere on social media. 71% have their school name. This is probably on their Facebook page. 71% post the city or town where they live. 53% have their email address up there, and 20% post their cell phone number. I'm 99% sure that's all Facebook, and that was a Pew Center study. So already we're putting all this stuff out there. So that goes to the thing of, why do they have to hire a company to watch it, considering it's already all out there? You know what I mean?
Well, I think they're just taking their students and then probably, they probably have keywords or things that stand out that they can quickly go through a program and pick out potential problems, versus just trying to click on 13,000 Facebook pages of their students, you know.
Do you guys think there's some risk, though, in that kids just do and say stupid stuff? And when we did and said stupid stuff in junior high and in high school, that if it was off school grounds and you weren't punching a kid on school, you did it, and then it worked itself out.
Sure,
but now, if you're a kid and you post something stupid or some joke that doesn't quite make sense, the school's going to be all over you, and you're going to get...
It actually did happen. There was a girl who was... she tweeted something that the governor came to their high school, and she had tweeted something about how, you know, he's a douchebag or something. And so the principal that girl got in trouble for tweeting something about the governor, which I think is unbelievable. This is the United States.
Wouldn't she get in trouble if the governor came to school and she stood up and said, "You're a douchebag" to his face? She probably would still get reprimanded.
But
she didn't do that, though.
But she did do it on a public forum.
But so you can't write an article that's critical of the governor? Of course you can.
This is the interesting part. This is the interesting part.
So.
Is it different if you were, well, first off, I think you're allowed, I mean, legally you're allowed to call the governor a douchebag if you want, right?
But I think you still may get suspension, or you might get, time after class or something for you disrespecting a politician or somebody coming to your school. I mean, you'd be disruptive to class or whatever. I mean, you could potentially still get in trouble for that.
But the difference here is that in the old days, you might have watched the governor speak, and then you walk out of there and you say to your friends, "Oh, this guy's a douchebag."
Sure.
Now you tweet it, and now that's where the danger lies.
No, and I will just say this is happening in Glendale, so where they're trying to monitor the social media of the kids in Glendale. And if you know
other school districts are doing it too. They just may not talk about it.
Glendale, see, it's not so bad because Glendale is full of Armenians and they're very shifty. So it's maybe not a bad idea.
Hey, our girl Anna Kasparian is right back there.
There you go.
Case in point.
Anna, she's one of the good. She's part of that 5% you don't hear about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Probably a reason for that.
All right, last topic. Let's talk about the neo-Nazis, those crazy, wacky guys. They're back. They never go away.
Their Facebook page?
We're going to find out about their Facebook page in a second. This story is so bonkers, it's ridiculous. A man living in North Dakota, his name's Craig Cobb. He lives in the town of Leith, which is a huge town. It has 19 people. He wants it to become an all-white town, a neo-Nazi town where they'll be free to do all their neo-Nazi box social fun things.
Yeah.
It's completely insane.
Oh, God.
Now, the thing is, guess how many black people currently live?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
One.
You're right, there's one guy. So basically they're trying to get the one black guy out of it. And obviously this is completely insane. He wants anyone who lives on his property, so on this town, that they'd be required to fly a racial banner 24 hours a day, such as a Nazi flag. They'd also be required to try to import more responsibly radical, hardcore white nationalism. Oh, white people. Is there anything? I mean,
reading this story and then reading that he had been buying up these properties so he could expand his property and then invite his white friends. Hey, come on, you can come live on my property. I've been buying it up. It's so scary. I mean, I'm surprised that the one black guy that lives in that town actually made a comment at the end of that story. And it's like, well, hopefully he's just not going to hurt anybody. And I'm not thinking, man, he's got balls to say. I mean, I wouldn't want to leave either. That's my town. It's not, you're trying to create something else. I was here first. This is where I live.
The black guy's going to be the only cool guy in town. Can you imagine a town of just white people? Ugh. Sounds horrible.
Yes, I can imagine it.
You can, and it would be pretty boring.
I can imagine it.
Yeah.
Most cities are, anyway, but...
Worst dance clubs ever.
This guy, by the way... is such an asshole. He got kicked out of Canada basically for being an asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
That's really what...
Didn't he go to Europe first and then he got sent back to...
Got kicked out of Europe.
Right.
So he goes to Canada.
Tough.
Canada goes, you're too big of an asshole to live here. So then he goes to North Dakota where there's no one lives there.
Right.
Yeah.
So now
my Norwegian family, when they kind of migrated over to the United States, took over the Dakotas because they're like, great, it's like Norway and nobody wants it. I'm half Norwegian, I know. Tweeden.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Are you kidding me?
No, but all my family, we still have probably a lot of Tweedens up in the Dakotas. But it's funny that they took over that land because it's cold and rocky and nobody wants to live there. And they're like, we'll take it. We'll be private.
What's the other half?
Filipino.
Oh.
In Spanish, yeah. Yeah.
Well, they don't want any Filipino there either, I assure you.
Right, it was all the white Norwegians.
Yeah, but playing devil's advocate here for just a second, should we just allow this to be? Because you know what? If this crazy white supremacist wants all his white supremacist buddies to go live with him over there, maybe we should
there's
just.
really nothing breaking the law, I guess.
Zippity dan doodah. Get out of our lives.
He was able to buy a house for $5,000 in this city.
Yeah.
And all I can think of is once this guy moves in, values are going down.
Exactly. He's not even going to be able to sell it for anywhere near that price.
Yeah.
Right, he doesn't want any gay people living there, but doesn't he know that when gay people move next door to you, gentrification, the whole place.
The price is going to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, should we just, should we not even talk about this? Because let them, if they want to separate themselves.
Right. And be very isolated up there, because I mean, who really wants to live in North Dakota? I don't.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not breaking any laws as of right now. I mean, he's just trying to gather all his white neo-Nazi friends to go live with him, and that, whatever. Leave the crazy kook heads up there by themselves.
Well, how ironic he had to come back to the United States,
Yeah,
a multicultural
exactly.
country, so he can have his hate.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
They
It's
wouldn't
so
allow
true.
it. And
They wouldn't allow it in
so true.
Canada.
Yeah, in the white countries, they wouldn't allow it so much, even though Canada's a lot more multicultural than we think. But I forgot my second point.
You had something there. There was something good. We'll get you around to it. All right. Well, I mean, I see this as sort of let the guy have his white cake.
As long as he doesn't
I
bother
needed to.
anybody else. Yes, Jim?
I was just want to say it's good so now we can be like identify. Like, when I see like a skinhead, I'm like, oh, good. I know to not go near you. You're not going to trick me. I'm not going to walk over to you and say a nice thing to you, and you go, hey, how about those niggers? You know, I mean, you ever have that happen? Like, oh shit, stop it. I didn't know that was coming. So it's good. It's like guys who wear the American flag. It's like, I know you're an asshole already. I don't need to meet you. So it's good to see those people. It keeps them away from you.
Yeah. You know, we can thread all the stories we've done here together, because I'm pretty sure some of the people that are moving to North Dakota, this guy, are the anonymous commenters we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
There's definitely, those white
Absolutely.
supremacists love anonymous commenting.
They will spew their hate wherever they can find a forum.
They absolutely will. But we know you guys won't, and that's why we love you. So comment, like. That's Leeann Tweeden. That's Jimmy Dore. I'm Dave Rubin. We'll do this again next week, barring World War III. Okay.